I'm just going to show you some facts. All right. You ever heard of Sir John Hawkins? Sir John Hawkins was born in 1532, which subsequently is before the King James Bible was written. It's before that. The King James Bible, as we know it, was written in 1604. It began in 1604, and it was completed in 1611. That's the King James Bible version that we have. All right. Now, I know some of you have been studying a while, so you understand Constantine in the year 300 to 325 AD and what happened, and you understand the Council of Nicaea, right? So what I want you to do is I want you to research those and then just apply the knowledge that you gain from that. Just apply it to the situation so that we can use common sense, right? Our common sense to figure out the solution to this major debate. And I promise you, if we can get past where we at right now in the conversation, you're going to be blessed by it and your life going to go to another level. Right? So if you understand the Council of Nicaea, you understand Constantine and the Constantine era and how they forced Christianity. But now let's just take it closer to our people, because we like to kind of stay within a certain era. All right? So I want you to know, and Sir John Hawkins was very close to Queen Elizabeth. Queen Elizabeth had a boat, a ship that was irreparable. It wasn't working. So what she did was, once Sir John Hawkins found out, and he was a businessman, he came from a long lineage of businessmen. So the slave trade was already in existence before the Atlantic slave trade. All right. And this is very, very important. Sir John Hawkins and his cousin, Sir Francis Drake, all right, they borrowed or rented this ship from Queen Elizabeth. Now, they did this in 1564. Right? This is before the King James version of the Bible was written as we know it. All right? And in 1564, he named that ship the Good Ship Jesus. The Good Ship Jesus. Now, for me, and people ask why I stopped preaching, why I stopped pastoring, why I stopped doing all this and that, why I stopped promoting Jesus and Christianity, this was red flag number one for me. So when I began to gain this knowledge, I'm like, okay. So now let's look at the slave ships. And since we have one red flag pointing to a slave ship named Jesus, right? Which on this slave ship Jesus, Sir John Hawkins, and you can research this, and Sir Francis Drake, they held church service twice a day on this ship named Jesus. And if the slaves did not willingly participate, then they were tortured, they were beaten, and they were killed. So now when I think about that, just that alone, just that one slave ship named Jesus alone, and then I think about another one that came in 1567, Madre de Deus, which translates into Mother of God, right? So now the slave ship Jesus of Lubeck was later named Grace, and there was another ship, Madre de Deus, named Mother of God, right? And then you also have Don Frisco in 1837 that was sold and renamed James Matthew. Don't forget, James, as a Bible character named James, who is the brother of Jesus. So if we got a slave ship named Jesus, a younger brother that comes along named James, we got Matthew, which is the last name, so the name of the ship was James Matthew. We know that that's the first book in the Old Testament. So we got Grace, the ship Jesus, and we got the slave ship named Mother of God. Just to throw it out there as a reference point, we also had another that was also the first American slave ship named Desire. All right? Is that one reason why America is all about desire? Is that one reason why the church, or now I'm not going to say the church, I'm just going to say the doctrine that's being taught is taught in a manner to keep us in wants and desire, right? So, you know, all of this, and I apologize if I'm getting a little emotional or seem like it, but I'm just a little passionate about this, so excuse me on that, right? But I want to point out to you the significance in this when it comes to these names, when it comes to the music. You know, I believe it was John Hawkins that wrote Amazing Grace, right? As he was finishing up his voyages, thanking his God for the grace that they were given to be able to make these voyages successful, right? And so you got a number of slave ships that were forcing this group of people to worship this particular religion. So is it coincidental to you that in less than 100 years, like a couple of 100 years later, or 100 years later, less than 100 years later, this King James version of the Bible, who wasn't written by King James but a collection of people, mainly Shakespeare, right? And I'm not going to even get into their personal livelihoods or what they did, their personal preferences or anything like that. All I'm going to say is we have to put together how this influenced what we know today as religion, how this influenced it. So just to help you understand, and I'll get out of your way, when people say that Christianity is the white man's religion or it's a slave religion, that's really what they're referring to. They're simply saying that this is where it began. And if we can't see that this is where all of that began, then we'll continue to be stuck in the same mentality that our people were put in when they were placed upon these ships, right? And it make me wonder, is that what the old people would sing about when they were singing those songs? When they would say stuff like, they waiting on, the old ship of Zion. They waiting on that old ship of Zion to come back and take them back to the